Welcome to SethCraft. I'm currently building a 20 by 30 workshop, as you can see behind me. It's finally time to put the siding on the gable end of my buildings, which is the triangle you see up top here. Now for the rest of the building, I have used Hardie Board siding, which is a concrete-based siding, but it's very heavy and too awkward to install up here on the top. And so I'm going to be doing vinyl siding up here. Let's go ahead and jump into getting this installed. I'm going to use three different types of materials here. First of all, I have got starter strip. This will go on the lower end of this gable end, and then the vinyl siding pieces will snap on to this edge. I've also got J trim, and this is going to be used at the very top, and it will hide the edge of the vinyl siding as it goes into this channel here. And then lastly, I have the vinyl siding itself, and as you can see, it's got an overlap edge, this edge right here, which allows the next piece to clip into, and there's also a little channel down here that starts on the starter strip. So those are the three components we're going to be working with today. Now it can be a little awkward filming from the ground while I'm up on a 12-foot ladder, but we'll see if we can do this and make sense. The first thing I'm going to install is the J channel, and it's called J channel because it's got a longer piece here and then curves around on this back side. And that channel right there is what hides the ends of the vinyl siding from being seen. To install this, I'm going to be using 1.25" roofing nails. It's just your typical roof nail like that. And I'm going to put one at the end, and then every 16 inches or so is where I'm going to be attaching this. Now up here on my gable end, my studs are not exactly at 16 inch, but at least give us something to nail into with that OSB up there. Anyway, let's get started installing this. I'm working on a ladder, which makes this a little bit awkward, but it is certainly doable. What I'm going to do is place the top corner right there in the top, and I'm going to go ahead and put a couple of nails in here, and then we'll go over to the other end of the building where this is overhanging and be able to cut that loose. Now that I have the J channel attached at the top where it needs to be, I'm down here at this lower end where I'm going to take some 10 snips, and I'm going to just be cutting this to fit into this last bit of the corner over here. So it looks like I can cut about right here. Now this can snap in cold weather. It's about 50 degrees out right now, and so hopefully I don't have any issues with that, but just going to cut out this corner and get this nailed down into position. The J channel is now fully installed from the bottom down there all the way up to the top, and I have the second piece also installed going down. One thing I like about the J channel is that it makes a nice connection up against the top of the building and kind of bridges any gaps that I had up there. So happy about that. If you're wondering about the dirtiness of this, it was behind my storage building for like 7 years before I used it. So anyway, let's move on to the starter strip. This side right here with the exposed open lip is going to be going towards the building, and this side that has the smooth round over will be facing out away from the building. The vinyl siding hook is going to snap into this and hold on to it. So one thing I have found out is that you have to have about 3/4 of an inch from the bottom here to whatever is under that in order to get the vinyl siding to clip in. So anything less than 3/4 of an inch, and you'll have to really twist up and pop in, and it can be quite annoying. So a lot of times you'll be installing this on the bottom of your building and not up here on the gable end. And so just keep that in mind. You need about 3/4 of an inch. Let's step up here and get this installed. I take my starter strip and push this almost to the end of my other side over here, just to be able to get that 3/4 of an inch gap there. I'm gonna take my tape measure and see what we're dealing with. Yep, so right there is where I want this all the way across. I know this piece of trim right here is leveled out, And so that's how I'm able just to measure up from this and get this nailed down. Once I get it pretty much leveled out, every 16 inches roughly, I'm going to put one of these roofing nails. And you'll notice I'm putting this in the middle of these grooves. I have the starter strip all the way up here from one end to the other. My nail placement is approximately 16 inches apart, and I have a 3/4 inch gap here to here. Now, you could do a little bit shy of 3/4 inch. The problem is that lip that's on the vinyl has to be able to get in here and then pop up. And so having the 3/4 inch gap is a lot easier to work with. I know the pitch on my roof is a 412, so I'm going to use my speed square to put the pivot point here on the lower corner, and I'm going to find the common 4 up here, and if I place that mark right there on the 4, then I know that angle right there is what I need to fit up under my eave. So I need to get a straight edge and transfer this all the way out until it hits the other end. Now there are several tools you could use to cut this vinyl siding. An angle grinder is probably the quickest and the cleanest. I'm going to try my snips here and see how this does, but I may move on to the angle grinder here in just a bit. I have to see how this does. The issue really gets to when you start cutting through the middle piece and also the end, which is so much thicker. So right here is where the vinyl can snap a bit. All right, now is where we find out how well I did cutting that angle. Pretty good, I like that. All right, so here is the trick. I need to make sure there is enough room on the inside of this J channel that this can expand and contract a little bit as the temperature changes. And so what I'm going to do is push it all the way in and then move it out approximately a half inch or so, and that should be sufficient. So once I have that done, I'm going to make sure that it has locked into the starter strip underneath, and then using a thumb I'm going to hold up on this to then drive my first nail in. Now I'll show you in just a bit. It's very important that you don't drive the nail all the way in, because this needs to be able to expand, and if you drive the nail in all the way, it will buckle over time, and that is not what you want. So as you can see, I have one nail in here and it's still able to slide back and forth. There's the first layer of the vinyl siding up, and I think it turned out to look quite nice. Let's climb the ladder real quick and I will show you what that little gap looks like on those roofing nails. So if you zoom in pretty close here, you can see the siding is still able to move up and down and left and right because I'm putting the nails right there in the middle of that gap. So that is good. All right, so the pitch is going to be the same for the cut over here, but I need to take my tape measure and see what my distance is from the very corner over there to this side right here. Now, on this piece, you'll notice that there is no lip anywhere right here, and that's the overlap space. So I'm actually going to measure to about this point right here. So come down to there and go out to find the corner down there, and that will be the length that we need to cut down to. I measured my distance up top here and found it to be 8 foot and 2 inches. So I'm going to measure out from the far end over there and do 8 foot and 2 inches. Right, that's the starting point for my next cut. Now notice I've got the top edge over here now, and my line is going to go up this way, and it's the opposite angle from what was done earlier. Now the scrap piece that I pulled off earlier is the correct angle, so I'm going to simply use that to mark out my new one here, and that should work out fairly well for us. Alright, that was either a perfect measurement and cut, or I'm about to go back to the store to buy some more of this. Looks like I might have cut about, oh, I don't know, a ½ inch too long, which is the preferred way to go. Yep, I need to trim this down about, oh, I don't know, ¼ inch to do it. I trimmed that piece just a little bit and was able to get it nailed into place. And I think it's doing quite well. Let's step up here real quick. I probably could have done just a tiny bit shorter because this gap right here isn't quite as, I basically like to have this a little bit bigger for extra expansion, but it's gonna be okay. All right, all of my nails are installed here and it's looking pretty good. So the next step is to move up to this next piece. And so as you can see, we had the starter strip down here, and then this is essentially the starter strip for the next one, which will hold that next piece in place. Just pull it up and get that nailed down. So, all right, my light's gone for tonight, so I'll be back tomorrow and we will continue with the next piece. I have 2 scrap pieces of vinyl siding here. Just wanted to show you what this connection looks like before I step up on the ladder. So this looks just like the starter strip up here on the top, as you can see. And then this piece down here has the hook on it. And so essentially that's just going to connect into position there and lock into place. So as soon as you put the nails up top here, it's not going anywhere. So, all right, and with a long piece, it actually locks in pretty good and it's hard to get it to come back out. So I have just pre-cut this piece right here with the angles on both sides, as you can see. I probably could have gone out another about 1, maybe even 2 inches, but it's gonna work out just fine. So let me step up on the ladder and then get this one installed, and this side will be just about finished. One thing I'm learning as I go along here, I need to add about 2 inches to every time I make a measurement here in the corners, because it always seems to come up just a little bit shy of the full length. So, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and get both ends of this stuffed up here. And like I did before, I'm going to push up once this is locked in. As you can see here, I can just push this up a bit, put a nail in there, and it will keep everything locked into position. I just finished up the very last piece of vinyl siding up there in the corner, and everything has come together quite nicely. I am very pleased with the results. Way, way better than hauling concrete siding up there to try to get that matching. So I am pleased that I decided to go with the vinyl siding. All right, let's step up here real quick and take a look at what's been done. There's a nice consistency, that 3/4 inch gap between the Z flashing and the vinyl siding, and that has the potential to let water get here and then roll off of the building. I put my seams in this direction, which I could have gone the other way to look better aesthetically, but you know what, it's gonna be just fine. Now, I was not sure what to do with the very last piece up here, and so I did add 1 single nail at the very top, which will hold everything from falling out, but I don't think that it would anyhow. Okay, well, there you go. I'm pleased with the results there. The seams all look good, and it has a little extra room for any kind of expansion that may happen in the future. All right, well, that concludes the vinyl siding portion of the gable end, and I'm very thankful that I decided to do this instead of putting the concrete board up. Let me show you here what happened on my previous building. So I did put the concrete board up here, and I had to run the sheets in the opposite direction, and there's just some issues I had. And also, that stuff is extremely heavy. So that's one of the reasons that I went with the vinyl siding. So if you have any thoughts or comments, then put those down below. I would definitely like to hear what you have to say. This is my very first time at doing vinyl siding and had a bit of a learning curve. The main thing that I learned was that whenever I take my tape measure from one end to the other, I need to add about 1 or 2 inches to my measurement, because I was not getting up under that J channel as far as I needed to. So anyway, I think it looks good and I am very pleased with it. Now I am building this 20 by 30 workshop, and this is the last video for the exterior until I do caulking and painting in the spring. So be sure to subscribe and continue watching as I move inside for all of those fun tasks as well. Thanks for watching. I'm Seth with the SethCraft Workshop, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.